And welcome to another show of Gramble On, the show for degenerates by degenerates. My name is Bob. Steve's not here. He's at a wedding in Grand Rapids. Congratulations to Mike. Really love to see that you got married, man. So if you don't want to listen to me, all of our picks are going to be in the description. Like, share, subscribe. It's the only way that you're going to be able to get to us quickly and see all of our picks. Keep following us on Twitter, Facebook, all the majors. That's how we can get changes to these picks as quickly to you as possible so that we can make some money. Remember, it's us against the casino. Speaking of us against the casino, I was having a conversation with my buddy Brandon today about live betting. Now, I really like live betting compared to a lot of other opinions about it. It's a great way to make money, mainly because it relies solely on that algorithm. So if you do it enough, you're gonna learn how that algorithm works. It's kind of like craps. You got to kind of play a little bit and lose a little bit to kind of figure out how to play the game correctly. Basically, what it comes down to is the algorithm is the beginning line, the amount of time that's left in the game, and the score. With football, usually the yard line. But you can kind of once you do it enough times, you can kind of do it in your head where that live line is going to be. Always do your homework, though. All right? Know what you're looking for and waiting for when you open up that live betting screen. Because live betting really plays into that lizard brain of yours. I see it a lot with guys that they would never take that team -3, but because it moved up to -10 and now it's back down to -3 in the matter of 5 minutes, it just looks good to them. They think that they're getting a deal now for that. And it's just they would have never picked it straight up that way. So yeah, always do your homework before you're doing it. Don't stare at it too long, and really just abide by the 5-second rule. If you can't make that bet in 5 seconds, turn it off. All right? It's just not it's going to suck you in. But if you know what you're looking for and you know while watching the game, oh my God, they're probably at plus points. I'll definitely take them plus whatever 4 points. Yeah, you can make a ton of money doing that. So anyways, let's get into how it went last weekend. I'm not gonna, when going through the picks, I'm really not gonna take that much time. Steve usually kind of has a way with words on how to do it. I'm pretty much straightforward and stats only, not much entertainment. I mean, I can kind of do this. There you go, guys. But anyways, let's talk about last weekend. Last weekend was a dog of a weekend for us. We got our teeth kicked in. Let's really be honest with ourselves here. Saturday alone, losses. All right, Ryan Spann, who I picked, got knocked out in 2 minutes. Did not see that coming. I thought it was going to be more of a fight. Obviously, that parlay didn't go through because Ryan Spann lost, but I did have Armon and Buckley picked correctly. But hey, hand grenades and horseshoes, right? In parlays. UCF -6.5. Well, it should have been +6.5, and probably +15 would have helped us. Virginia Tech, same thing, got that kicked in. Toledo, again, same thing. Like, if those were plus points, we'd still fucking lose. We got the Nebraska over, the Arkansas State plus 16, Virginia under, Ole Miss under. We didn't tell you to bet these, but we were like, if it kind of comes to it, we're okay with you taking it. Saints -3. Like the Packers the week before, they didn't even cover 0. Chiefs -3. That one was kind of weird. That one we were up by 11 with 8 minutes to go. Patrick Mahomes has never thrown an interception in September. He threw one, and then they got the ball back. They were moving. They got to the 50-yard line and fumbled. What are you going to do? Yeah, I think we picked it correctly. We just got unlucky. Cardinals -4.5. I don't know how the Vikings almost made a comeback there. And then the Eagles 49ers over. Well, at least we got the 49ers.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir, indeed. We got nothing. Nice thing, the Bama over was a push. So we got to keep our money there. And let's talk about the wins. We kind of cleaned up on Sunday. And though we did pretty bad on Saturday, we cleaned up on Sunday, so we kind of broke even. With any of the star picks, if you kind of kept it even, we nailed 50%. Obviously, that didn't win us any money. The Bama over probably pushed, so we're pretty close to 52.4 with that. But overall, still in the losing column for the weekend. But our wins, Penn State -5, good. Michigan +6.5, they crushed them. 49ers -3.5, nailed it. Bills -3.5, they clearly cleared it. Bucks -12.5, that was another one that we got. Raiders +6.5, another great win by that. Pats -5 and the Pats Jets under, nailed that. So if you parlayed any of those together, good on you. But overall, for Gramble On, didn't do good this weekend. But hey, we're up, we're down. It's the way it goes this weekend. I assume we have a lot less picks, so I think this is a little bit more filed down. We got something for you. Going on to that docket, let's talk about UFC. This is one of my favorite cards coming up, which is great. I'm very excited for Saturday. I'm psyched to watch these fights. And this is my expertise, so I'm going to talk a little bit long on UFC and then kind of fly through college and NFL. But anyways, just kind of started off, kind of my philosophy around gambling on the UFC right now is I don't really touch the women's division. Now, this is mainly because the women's division is following the men's division almost to a T. And as the history kind of goes on, you're seeing a lot of things that the men's division already kind of did. It's happening in a little bit shorter of a time frame for the women's division, but those ups and downs are pretty much the same. So when you watch the original UFC 1993 until probably about the early or late 90s, early 2000s, jiu-jitsu was king. It was the only way to win a fight. If you didn't know it, you were just going to get beat 9 times out of 10. Same thing with the women's division when it was created. It was jiu-jitsu or nothing. Then you had this really weird part in the mid 2000s, where it leaned a lot on wrestling, and there really wasn't that much talent. There was probably about 5 or 6 guys that you could kind of pick, and you could be like, oh yeah, no, that this person is definitely great. But anything outside of the top 3 of any division, it was kind of like, it's a crapshoot. Anybody can win on any given day, and everybody was kind of trying to find their footing. The next part is great. The next part is your Hall of Famers that are considered GOATs, that are considered, what people emulate themselves after now. Amazing striking, great ground game, great jiu-jitsu, can win on the feet, mentally there, mentally strong. And you're seeing that in the women's division, or you're going to see that in the women's division. Right now, they're in that wrestling. Only the top three women are really going to be worth betting on in any way, shape, or form. Everybody else, it's kind of a crapshoot. So I'm really just waiting for, and it seems like the women's division, instead of taking 10 years to do that same valley and mountain, it's taking about 2.5 to 3 years. So I say probably in a year and a half, 2 years, we're going to be able to bet, down the line a little bit more towards like, I can bet a number 8 ranked against a number 10 ranked. Not right now. I mean, it's basically, I can count on one hand. It's Valentina Shevchenko, Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Amanda Nunes, and Jessica Andrade. There's the 6. They're all going to be fighting each other, and you already kind of know the outcome. And the ones that are going to win are such heavy favorites. It's barely even worth putting them in a parlay. But anyways, to get outside that, so you're not going to see a lot of women picks from me, at least for another year, unless this turns around really quick. But then there's new talent, and I'm excited. It'll give me a little bit more to look through stats and stuff like that. Let's just go through our picks. I'm not going to bore you on the ones that nobody knows, but I'm going to take Omar Morales over Jonathan Pierce. They're both basically the same fighter. Omar just looks a little bit bigger. He looks like he's a little bit stronger. And I think he's going to be able to kind of like just hold him up against the cage at will. And I think Jonathan's just going to kind of break after a little while in that fight. Uros Medic is fighting Jalen Turner. I'll take Uros. He's 7-0. He looked really good in his last fight. My only thing is that Jalen is very quick on his feet. He's very hard to kind of pick apart, and I think Uros has the talent to do it. But I can see Jalen kind of pulling this one off too. But I'm only going to put them in those two in a long shot parlay. And in that long shot parlay, we put down $10, we'll win like 300. I mean, hey, let's, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. The Chris Dukakis, Shamil Aberdu, I can never say his last name. That heavyweight fight, I wouldn't touch with a 5-foot pole, all right? Just not worth it. Same as the Dan Hooker fight. I know Dan Hooker's supposed to be the next truth. Nazarat is no fucking punk. And Chandler showed, hey, Dan Hooker isn't as great as everybody's made him out to be. So I'm going to stay away from that fight. Marlon Moraes versus Merab Dvalishvilli. I'm going to go with Merab. He's definitely the better fighter. He's going to wrestle Marlon. And Marlon Moraes, he had that great run, but he's kind of on a downward trend, and I don't know what it is. Maybe he needs a new camp or what, but I just don't see him winning this fight. So I'm going to take Merab. Curtis Blaydes versus Rosenstruck. This is basically Curtis Blaydes said it best. Rosenstruck is a Derek Lewis, but the Kmart version. I mean, he nailed it on the head. I don't like that Curtis Blaydes is thinking that way, because Rosenstruck does have the power to knock him the fuck out, and Curtis Blaydes seems very quick to not remember that Derek Lewis knocked him the fuck out. So, I mean, Curtis Blaydes should win this fight. He should go out there. He should be able to take him down and, lay some heavy hands on him, and Rosenstruck won't really have an answer for it. But, I mean, Rosenstruck if he gives that same sneaky uppercut and knocks Curtis Blaydes' head into a fucking oblivion, and all of a sudden Curtis Blaydes is waking up not knowing what the fuck just happened to him. So I'm still kind of on the fence. I'm going to take Curtis Blaydes, but I'm still kind of on the fence of how I'm going to put this together. I'm not really going to tell you on this podcast how I'm going to put these fights together, because I'm still kind of trying to... I really just need to sleep on it and figure out where I'm going to be. So in the description, it's going to actually say how I'm going to put these people together. But I'll give you the picks right now and how I'm thinking. Next fight is Nick Diaz against Robbie Lawler. This is a pick'em. I think it's leaning a little bit more towards Robbie Lawler, especially after the last couple of days. Tuesday, Nick Diaz, basically breaking news. He said that, I'm not going to make 170. We got to move it to 185. So that shows a little bit of, what the fuck were you doing for the last, 2 or 3 months? Also, Robbie Lawler showed up to press day. Nick Diaz, he, at least from what I know, only did interviews in the back. Robbie Lawler seemed like the same Robbie Lawler. Basically, you start talking about his history. He's kind of like, yeah, that did happen. You start talking about his future. He's like, that hasn't happened yet. And you start talking about this fight, and he's like, I just like fighting. It does throw people off a little bit, but that's Robbie Lawler. That's how he's always been. So basically, Robbie's Robbie. Nick seemed a little bit weird in those interviews. I don't know. He doesn't like interviews to begin with, so he's never really been a big interview guy. But just some of the stuff he was talking about, I don't even want to be here. I don't know if, I don't know why I'm fighting Robbie again. I should be fighting Usman. Dude, you couldn't make fucking weight. In what world do you think you should be fighting Kamaru Usman? You've only fought once in the last 8 years. It was 6 years to the Anderson Silva fight, and then 2 years before that he fought. In what world does he not think that he's going to have... Robbie Lawler's technically a really good fight for him. He's going to get a good payday out of it. So I don't know. And then he was talking about Nate getting cut and how he couldn't take it, and it just kind of seemed like PTSD kind of shit. I don't know. I and that's so hard to say about like Diaz brothers, that they're gonna fucking break. But I mean, Robbie. Yeah, I just think his head's there. And on top of that, just outside of the head, I mean, Robbie's been fighting the top guys. He's been fighting for 8 years plus. He hasn't had this downtime. Nick Diaz has the ring rust. Nick Diaz has never fought a fight to win the fight. He fights a fight, and this is why the fans love him, is he fights a fight like it's a fucking fight. Like he's battling in the street, which is great, but it's never going to, give him points. So, with that all being said, I'm going to take Robbie Lawler. If you want to go crazy, Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy. That's going to be a great fight. I mean, I love Valentina Shevchenko. Let's be honest. If my sons started fighting and I could pick their camp, I would put Valentina Shevchenko definitely as the Muay Thai coach, if not their head coach, but I don't know if she could do both. I don't know. There's a lot of time between the two, but definitely if I could make her head of game planning and Muay Thai, I think she could pull that off, time wise. Notice that I've put a lot of time and their thought into this. Henry Gracie, obviously. Eddie Bravo, or I'd take Henry Gracie as head coach, him or Firas Zahabi. Eddie Bravo for jiu-jitsu, and Matt Serra. I mean, just because I like hanging out with him, I think I would like hanging out with him. But yeah, and I got a few others, but definitely Valentina. If I could only pick one, definitely Valentina. She just has the game down to a fucking science, and it's beautiful to watch. She is head and shoulders above any other UFC fighter, the most talented, but not only the most talented, the most basics. She just has those fundamentals down to a T, and it's just impossible to fucking stop her. So take Valentina Shevchenko, throw her into a big parlay, and it'll pay you a little bit more. Maybe if it's a 7 or 8 fight parlay, you'll get an extra $50-$75 out of it. And on to the big old main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. I don't like Volkanovski. And that might be my thorn in my side. Might be my Achilles heel. I don't think that he beat Max Holloway in either of the fights. Definitely not both of them. I can see one of them going to Volkanovski. The other one, no way. No fucking way that he won that. And I'm a big Max Holloway fan, so, I just don't like him. That being said, going into this main event, Volkanovski is an amazing wrestler. Fundamentals are sound. Tough as a fucking, he's built like a brick shit house and tough as nails. He used to be a rugby player. I mean, if you look at the rugby pictures, he was my size, which gives hope to some of the fat guys out there. But yeah, he is really tough. Brian Ortega, by far, jiu-jitsu is amazing. I mean, if he gets a hold of Volkanovski, he will submit him. He will put him to sleep. No problem, or break something off of him. that's a huge danger for Volkanovski. If he ends up in a bad position, Brian Ortega will fucking submit him. Now, Brian Ortega's stand-up was kind of shown by Max Holloway that, hey, you're not at that level. But in his past few fights and also new training camp, his striking has gotten better. He'll never be as elite as the Max Holloways, the Israel Adesanya's, the Valentina Shevchenkos. I don't think he'll ever get to that point, but what I really liked with him, especially against Korean Zombie, he was doing striking that worked for him. So the style is really fitting into his own. But if you're comparing apples to apples, he's not going to go down as the greatest striker of all time. But he knows how to make it work for him. And I think that kind of a style against a Volkanovski who's very fundamentally sound, it's going to be a lot of trouble for him to kind of figure out. And I have a feeling that he's going to get frustrated, or he's going to make a mistake and Brian Ortega is going to choke him out. And that's why I'm going to take Brian Ortega for the win there. But yeah, so pay attention to the description. That's all my UFC picks. Pay attention to the description. That's what's going to tell you how I'm going to line these up to bet them. So there you go for that. From there, we go on to the other stuff on Saturday. Big old NCAA football. We're gonna go down here kind of fast. We're gonna take Wake Forest versus Virginia. The over/under is at 68.5. Now I know Wake Forest is known to put up a decent amount of points, but Virginia's got a decent defense. I don't mind the under in that. Not gonna lean heavy on it, but I don't mind it. I probably won't bet it, but I don't mind it. Georgia versus Vanderbilt. The over/under is 53. I don't see Vanderbilt putting up any points. I think it's going to be a 0 for Vanderbilt. Georgia, it's all on them. And can they score 53 points? Probably. But I would assume it's an under. So I'm going to take the under in that game. Auburn is minus 27 against Georgia State. I like that. I don't know if I'm going to lay 27 yet. But we are in week 4. It's kind of starting to get to that point where it's like, okay, I can see how many points are going to come out of either of these teams. So I don't mind laying 27. I don't know if I'm going to pick it on Saturday, but if you think it's a good idea, I would give you a high five and a smile. We're going to stay hot on Michigan State. They're playing Nebraska, and they're only minus 5 points. I'll take it. I'll take it all day. They look like a really good team, and Nebraska looks like absolute dog shit. So, hey, take it all day, because I assume week 5 or week 6, these lines for Michigan State are going to look correct. So take it while you still can, because I don't think after week 6 that we're going to be able to take that easy money from Michigan State. Alabama, Southern Mississippi. We're going to take the over 58.5. Alabama's good for 50. We just need a touchdown and a field goal from Southern Miss. I think they can put that up. And boom, we got the over there. And then the last one is Oregon State versus USC. it's just both those teams are, they're kind of high flying, but I just don't see this. I see this being really sloppy football. And the over/under 62 has a decent amount that they have to like get right. So we'll take the under at 62 on that game. All right, cool. Let's move on to NFL. Tonight, we like the over. Last time I looked at the score, I don't think it did go over. But anyways, just not. I mean, we both didn't touch it tonight anyways. Moving on to the Chargers versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are -6.5, and the over/under is 55. This is a fucking trap. This is a trap fucking game. Do not think that you can pick this. Stay away from it at all costs. The book has it perfect. If you win, it's pure luck. I don't see a way that you can put this either way. If that line comes down, which it won't, to -1 or -2, sure, take the Chiefs, but it's not going to. So it's just way too hard to pick. Moving on, the Cardinals and the Jaguars. Cardinals are -7.5. Over/under is 51.5. Hammer the Cardinals. I think the Jaguars are our new Jets football. Last year we made a lot of money off of betting against the Jets and just taking whatever spread was there. I think the Jaguars are going to be that team this year. They're just not going to beat the spread. They're just not going to fucking win. So we're going to take the Cardinals -7.5 in that game. The Bears and the Browns. The Browns are -7. The over/under is 45.5. Now I know the Browns -7 sounds very enticing. It does. We just don't really know how consistent the Browns are going to be by being up points. And probably by kickoff, that might go to 7.5. And the Browns are going to win, but I don't know by how many points. But I can tell you this. It's going to be high-flying football, and there's going to be a lot of scores, and that over/under is 45.5. Take the over all day. Just take the over. It's a better bet than taking the Browns -7. Moving on. Washington versus the Bills. Bills are -7. Over/under is 45.5. This is a trap game also. Bills sucked in the week 1. They came out and destroyed the Dolphins week 2. Washington's been okay. 7.5 is nowhere near where this line should be. 45.5 is right on where it is. If you take Washington plus the points, good on ya. But we don't know we have no idea about the Bills. They can be super hot or super cold. We're gonna need another game or two to figure out which one they fucking are. Or are they gonna be every other? We have no fucking idea. So you don't even then. For Washington, you don't know. They might come out and they might score fucking 35 points again, and Washington only puts up 7. So you don't know what team's gonna show up. So we just gotta watch it, and just save our money for another day. Colts Titans, fuck that game. Both offenses are injured. I personally like the under, but I'm not gonna take it because every other stat that I look at says over, and there's no way to tell the spread. So fuck that game. Saints Patriots. Steve says hammer the Saints plus 2.5. I'm saying take the Patriots minus 2.5. But we don't know what kind of Saints team is going to show up. But I know what kind of defense is going to show up from the Patriots, and the Patriots are good for, 20-ish points. I'm willing to bet on the Patriots. Don't go crazy. Steve says hammer the Saints. So, whichever way you want to do it. Falcons, Giants, fuck that game. Not even worth it. Giants are minus 2.5. The over-under is 47.5. If anything, I think the Falcons might come out and win a game on this one, but who the fuck knows? Steelers are minus 3 against the Bengals. The over-under is 44. I like the Steelers minus 3 as long as Roethlisberger or Haskins is playing. Right now, they're both on injury. They're both questionable, I think. Maybe Roethlisberger's out right now, but Haskins is questionable. If either of those two are playing, game on Steelers minus 3. If they don't, then don't even touch it. Ravens minus 8 against the Lions. The over-under is 50. Let's go with the over. That is going to be a crazy game. Lamar Jackson's going to be going crazy with that football and running it on third downs. The Lions are good for at least 20 points. I see the Ravens putting up 30. Boom, we're there. Jets, Broncos. Broncos are minus 10.5. The over-under is 41.5. Not touching that game at all. Who knows what's going to happen. Raiders, Dolphins. Raiders are minus 4.5. The over-under is 44.5. I will take the Raiders minus 4.5 all day. Dolphins don't have Ty Tuivasa. Their defense looked horrible against the Bills. I see the Raiders just running all over them, taking a free game. Bucks minus 1 against the Rams. Over-under is 56. Not touching that game. I like the Bucks minus 1. But they've gone 2 straight, did pretty well. I mean, against the Cowboys, they did okay. I don't know if they're firing on all cylinders yet, and this might be the game that a little bit too close to call. But I don't mind taking the Bucks minus 1. The Rams, I wouldn't put my money on it. Seahawks minus 1.5 against the Vikings. I will take the Seahawks all day. Vikings are nowhere near a team that's going to be able to finish off. It was proven. The Cardinals almost handed it to them last week, and they still couldn't fucking put it through. No pun intended. So I will take the Seahawks minus 1.5. Packers, 49ers. 49ers are minus 3. The over-under is 50. Steve and I are kind of going with that over. He says he likes the minus 3.5 on 49ers. We don't know which Aaron Rodgers is going to show up. And that being said, we don't know really on that over, but if Aaron Rodgers has a mediocre game, it's going over. And the 49ers, they don't have a defense to play against now. Packers' defense is not that great right now. So, see the 49ers putting up a decent amount of points and hitting that 50. And the Eagles, Cowboys. Cowboys are minus 4, and the over-under is 52. I like the under. But let's save Monday for Monday. If we have to, let's take the under and just pay attention to Twitter. And we'll let you know if we're going to take it or not. But for right now, let's call it a stay away from it, and we'll use it if we really need to. Yeah. So that's our picks. Describe the football well enough for you. And sorry for boring you with nerdy UFC talk. There is no $1 million run this year or this week, just because the Saints got fucked. So no $1 million run. So everything is basically the start of the $1 million run again. Just to go over the $1 million run if you're not, if we haven't described it to you well enough yet, basically you take $100 and within 14 weeks you have 1.6 as long as you keep doubling down. So we go from 100 to 200, take 200, 400, 400, 800, 800, 1600 the whole time, and we just keep doubling down on that original $100 bet. It's fun, and it's a fun game of chicken to play. So, we're gonna do it, and we'll describe it a little bit better next week in the beginning of the podcast. So just to close out, like, subscribe. I mean, this is the only way that we're going to be able to see that it's getting enough views and all that. And subscribe is for you guys. It's not so much for us. It's so that it pops up in that little bar on the side or on your phone on the bottom. And, you guys can find the new video very easily. Follow us on all the majors: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We don't really use Instagram that much. Mainly Twitter. Please follow us on that. It's the only way that we can change our bets and get it out to all of you guys. And that's about it. Good luck. Gramble on. Later.